I could've took the chance so many times. Shipped them boys down the road, Amazon Prime. We in Clementine like we doing hard time.
What's up?
Can't stay around like the Draco and the 9. Down like a tumor.
Okay.
We on Lauderdale, dude. Right behind the sign, yeah. Bitch, I'm out here thugging like skunk without you know. Bitch, I'm out here serving junkies numerous. Real nigga, no ceiling, high temper, gold member. Yeah, bitches call me Austin Powers, old really. Yeah, whole Master P, call me no limit. Bitch, I got composites on.
Y'all come on in.
My brother gone to the penitentiary. You know. I could have been locked up so many
y'all
times.
Come on in.
Clothes, sell some lows, we do this all the time. Lil' bro, he got slammed, then he facing hard time.
We on part 4.
Attempted murder charges took away his life. 8 pieces down, one bitch,
Nolan.
I needed 9.
Nolan Wells.
That chopper fake, give your ass a line.
Princess
I
Javeayah.
could've took the chance so many times.
Karmelo and
Ship them boys on Amazon Prime. We in Clementine like we doing hard time.
has
Can't
been
stay
served.
around like the Draco in the 9. My bitch, she been down
Justice
like
is
a
gonna
tomb
continue
on
to
the
be
side.
served.
We on Lauderdale shooting.
And for Karmelo Anthony, justice will
Bitch,
be
I'm out here
coming soon.
thugging like a skunk.
Y'all like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're gonna play a little before I start playing these audio clips. We're gonna start off with Karmelo Anthony.
She got on store. We entrepreneurs. Can't stay at the door. I'm solid to the core. Imis Analytics. Vice lords on your head like a fucking sword. Grandma raised a man, not a fucking boy. Fuck you niggas saying you respect the Lord. Bitch, we got them hammers, you have just been warned. Passing out the ammo like a fucking reward. Shoot you in your face, I'm talking fucking reform. I could've took the chance so many times.
Y'all come on in, like the video, subscribe to the channel. This song you hear, this called Prime Membership. It's my Amazon Prime song.
We on Lauderdale shooting dice behind the sign. Bitch, I'm out the lines. Bitch, I'm out here serving junkies numerous
from Prime
I could've
Amazon Prime to Prime membership, because Prime membership can mean anything. So they don't have Prime membership patent, but they do have Prime patent and Amazon Prime patent. So it's my Amazon song.
I'm out here thugging like a skunk without the nose. Bitch, I'm out here serving junkies numerous
Bitch, I'm out here. Yeah, y'all come on in, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We got good info on Nolan Wells. We even got a sound clip on Nolan Wells from him and on the boat when they got into that arc that Ben Crump was talking about yesterday, right? There was a family that was actually canoeing on the water, and they heard a lot of cursing and everything, and they was live. Well, at least the daughter was, right? And she was probably in her middle, the white girl. And the mom and dad had kind of like a shock reaction because they was in the more shallow waters, right? You could hear somebody yelling, saying, I don't know how to swim. You could also hear a white boy saying, fuck him. He's a grown-ass man. He should know how to swim. And when they turned their camera to who they was talking about, it was Nolan Wells in a blue life jacket in the water on the shallow part near like trees and dirt and shit. And he had the blue life vest on, and half of his body like was under the water. And Nolan said out loud, it sounded like he said, "Don't worry about it." Because one of the white boys was standing up for him. And I believe that the white boy that was standing up for him is the one that he took a picture with 3 white boys, right, on the boat. It was 2 white boys on his right side, and there was one on his left side, right? The 2 white boys on his right side, the one that was on the inside that was closer to Nolan, sitting next to Nolan, he was leaning back with a beer in his right hand, his left hand near Nolan. He was leaning back and had his arm kind of looking like it was around Nolan's lower back. You know, like he was cool with Nolan, right? On Nolan's left side was the white boy with the longer hair. Nolan had his arm around the white boy with the longer hair that was sitting on Nolan's side by himself. He had his arm around that white boy. And that white boy leaning back on him and had his forearm right there, like laying on Nolan's thigh, leaning in like this for the picture. When we analyzed that picture, I told you all, I said, I believe that Nolan, from us hearing that there was an argument on the boat, I believe that Nolan got to arguing with one of the other 2 white boys that was sitting side by side on his right side of the picture. I said, I believe if anything, the forearm laying on Nolan's thigh right there above his knee, and Nolan had his arm around the guy's shoulders. I said, that's his closest friend. That's just what I believe and what I analyzed from the picture. I said, if anybody stood up for him, it was that guy. I said, but he's outnumbered, right? Yeah, he's white just like them, but he's defending his friend Nolan, and he's outnumbered by the white boys, the ones that's white. And they kind of peer pressured and bullied him into fixing his story like their story. Now, I don't know if they came back around and harmed Nolan, right? Because they were arguing. One of them could have got mad, right? And when the family seen them and was recording, when Nolan said, "It's all right, I'll catch up," they could have came back around and the nigga ran him over straight with the boat, hit him. If he hit him, his head and his upper body is gonna be injured. And they was on like a smaller yacht boat, the one that has the 1 bedroom right there in the bottom of it, right? And they could have came back that way and hit him with the boat, right? If they did, it dazed him, knocked him out, even if it didn't kill him, which made him sink, right? Because if it hit him and he was able to still move, the water surrounded him and his body fully immersed underwater. Now just ride with me on this. If somebody hits you with a boat and you're still alive, you're gonna drown yourself from trying to breathe from the impact of the boat, right? But from the boat hitting you and sending you under the water. If you're getting choked by the water and you're trying to fight the water to come back up, the water will pull you down. We said yesterday, right? I said the waves in the water goes 1,000 different ways. It's like this. That's where clashing come from. Any storms or high wind on top of that ocean water cause the waves to clash, but clash even higher. And I used the example like when you're surfing and you catch a wave and the wave starts building a funnel around you. You're surfing trying to make it to the end of that funnel, trying to come out the end of that funnel. And you have, when you're surfing, whether you're good or bad, you have more incidents where waves clash down on you than incidents get through, make it all the way through fully the funnel that the wave creates. And I said, because water moves like this, if you see the funnel closing before you make it to the end, don't fight it. Allow that to come down on you and crash on you. But as it's coming down and you see you're not making it to the end, at the very last second, take the deepest breath you can. And when that wave come down on you, it's going to send you this way and send you that way and send you this way and send you that way. Surfboard this way and that way. That's why you have the ankle strap. Right? But the ankle strap can also be deadly, depending on how big the wave is and how you react to the wave clashing down on you. But we got this info. Y'all like the video and subscribe to the channel. What's up? Where Charlie Kirk 677. What's up, Connor Snacks? What's up, Ness? What's up, Aubrey Coach? Aubrey. What's up, Coach Aubrey? Oh, okay, Aubrey. That you know that you're trying to take out is have you already introduced yourself to her? Has she introduced? What kind of relationship are you trying to have her as your girlfriend? What kind of relationship outside of that do y'all have? Are y'all already friends? Okay, you said yes. Are y'all already friends, Aubrey? What's up, Primus? What's up, Suyo? What's up, Shane? What's poppin'? What's up, Lee Pookie? Lil Pookie? Have you already taken her out on Aubrey? Okay. If y'all already friends, try something like try something to start like taking her to the movies. Right? Taking her to the movies. Make sure you have enough money and let her know at the movies. Right? Right? And make sure that you have enough money to where whatever she wants to get off the menu, right? The food, whether it's popcorn, nachos, pizza, hot dogs, funnel cake, whatever. And then for her to be able to get whatever size drink she wants, because the larges are refills, right? And her some candy. And make that y'all first date and just really explain to her that you like her. You know what I'm saying? But if she's not ready for that, then you have to compromise for her if you really like her. That's good that y'all already friends. Let me see. Do she like scary movies? Or do she fuck with Disney? The real version of Moana is coming out. Okay, if she likes scary movies, let's see a scary movie. I'm gonna look up a couple of movies while we're doing. I'll drop them at the end of this live. I'll drop them in the comments and tag your name, Aubrey, so you can have a list, and we'll kind of analyze it together. I see you my Instagram and everything, and we could talk on there. I got no problem with that. You're a part of the family now. If you haven't already, make sure you like the video and subscribe. All right. This song I'm finna play is called Amazon Prime. I'm gonna play this before our our audio clip about Karmelo Anthony.
What they know is in the guy, huh?
Okay. What's up, Chanel?
And my family out in Memphis.
Hi.
I could so many times. Ship them boys down the road, Amazon Prime. We in Clementine like we doing hard time. Can't stay around like the nine. My bitch, she been down like a tumor on my side. We on Lauderdale, shooting dive behind the side. Bitch, I'm out here thugging like skunk without you know. Bitch, I'm out here serving junkies numerous. Real nigga, no ceiling. High temper, gold member. Yeah, bitches call me Austin Powers, old nigga. Whole Master P, call me No Limit. Bitch, I got composites on, fuck 50. My brother gone to the penitentiary. You know. I could've been locked up so many times. Fuck some clothes, sell some lows, we do this all the time. Lil' bruh, he got slammed, then he facing hard time. 8 attempted murder charges took away his life. 8 pieces, you down 1, bitch, I needed 9. Hit you with that chopper fate, you give your ass a line, I could've took the chance so many times. Ship them boys down the road, Amazon Prime. We in Clementine,
What's
we
up,
doing
Lala?
hard time.
What you said? Shout out to Lala. She said hit the like button, y'all.
My bitch, she been down like a tumor on my side.
No problem.
We on Lauderdale, shooting dive behind the sign. Bitch, I'm out here thugging like a skunk without the line. Bitch, I'm out here serving junkies. Fenty on my bitch ass, that's Rihanna shit. She asking for a Fendi bag, fuck Christian Dior. Fuck off her couture, she got on. We entrepreneurs, can't stay at the door, solid to the core, that's an underscore. Imis Uno Senor, it ain't no more. Vice Lords on your head like a fucking sword. Grandma raised a man, not a fucking boy. Fuck you nigga, you respect the Lord. Bitch, we got them hammers you have just worn. Passing out that ammo like a fucking reward. Shoot you in your face, I'm talking fucking reform. I could've took the chance so many times. Ship them boys down the road, Amazon Prime. We in Clementine like we doing hard time.
Get ready to get started, y'all.
Like the Draco in the night. My bitch, she been down like a tumor on my side. We on Lauderdale, shooting dice behind the sign. Bitch, I'm out here thugging like a skunk without Bitch, I'm out here serving junkies numerous times. I could've took the chance so many times. Ship them boys down the road, Amazon Prime. We in the time like we doing hard time. Can't stay around like the Draco in the night. My bitch, she been down like a tumor on the side. Down shooting dice behind the scenes. Bitch, I'm out here thugging like a skunk without the nose. Bitch, I'm out here serving junkies numerous.
Okay, la damn. Yeah. We finna get ready to get into it, y'all. I'm finna play this song for my guy Paul. He said he gonna be on the live tonight. I hope you already in, bro. This a song by me. I call it Dirty Diana, like Michael Jackson's Dirty Diana.
See this guy, huh? What they motherfucking know, baby. Oh, yeah. See you, bitch. I'm a sexual bitch. Yeah, next time I see you, bitch, I'm a sexual bitch, yeah, on some sexy shit, fuck the cops and shit, yeah, selling rocks and shit, I'm a street doctor, bitch, yeah, straight doc on ya. Beat it, Michael Jackson, moonwalk on her, yeah, moonwalking Jack, moonwalk that pussy wet, bitch dirty Diana, yeah, bitch dirty Diana, yeah, bitch dirty Diana, yeah, bitch dirty Diana, yeah. I put the 8 in the 4, drop the deuce in the fantasy, give me pussy galore, Bailo move to Atlanta, we in the South like like playoffs. She bring that pussy straight over and tell me help her get off. I'ma help her get crosswalk, moonwalk, all red like Red Cross. Dress it up, chrome hearts. Bitch, that pussy a star. Lift that dress up that part. Give me pussy and car, and I'ma drive it and park. Next time I see you, bitch, I'ma sex you, bitch, on some sexy shit, yeah. Fuck the cops and shit, yeah. Selling rocks and shit. I'm a street doctor, bitch, yeah. Straight doc on ya. I'ma beat it, Michael Jackson, moonwalk on her, yeah. Moonwalking, yeah. Moonwalk that pussy wet. Bitch dirty Diana, yeah. Bitch dirty Diana, yeah. Bitch dirty Diana, yeah. Bitch dirty Diana,
like the video, subscribe to the channel.
I put my ear on it. That pussy bite like Mike Tyson. Damn, girl. On it, bitch, we selling chickens like Tyson. I'm on the road to get Midas. My shit playing on Cyrus. That bitch roll a whole ounce. When I say roll up an island, where I'm from, we close windows just to bleed out the sirens. She said I kill that pussy. Let's have a moment of silence. Keep extra clip with no silence. She hold my bread like Michael. Dirty Diana, and I'm her all grown up Michael.
I don't know what you talking about. Word Charlotte. Hell yeah, I'm high, bro. 7007. I got this motherfucker rolled like a Cuban. It's the cigars I use right here. Royal Blunts, wet mango wrap. Yep. I give me like 10 of them. 10 of them junk. You heard me. It's really, you really tear it into two, right? But you don't have to tear it into two. You can roll a whole half ounce in one of them, 14 grams. That's how wide they are. You know what I'm saying? But you ain't high the motherfucker. Only weed. Yeah, and some liquor. I got a club tail. Yeah, I drink. Nah, I'm just old school with it. I probably started smoking around 2006, 2005, like smoking weed as a kid, as a teenager. I was probably about 13. Yup. Probably about 13. Um, but I didn't smoke heavy then. Joints, I hit the motherfucker once or twice. I'm high as a fool. Put that joint out, leave it up in the little shed house in the back. My grandma turned the shed house into like a little gaming room, put a pool table in there, my old futon when I got my bed and shit. Um and it was like my little dugout. So I used to go out there, sneak and smoke weeds and shit that I get. Yup. I was hitting my uncle up. I was hitting his sack up. Every time he pull up at grandma's house, I go up in his car. He got a bag full of joints, like a Ziploc bag, with probably like, because he had them pounds. So after he break the pounds down into ounces, uh, like take the 2 ounces or 3 ounces of shake that he had, and he roll up nothing but joints, like the Job 1.5 joints in the gold pack. He roll up nothing but joints, and I go out to the truck because I know he keep him a personal bag about the same size. In his vent, I used to go hit his ass up. I reach in there, pull out about 5-6 joints. That's when regular was in. You know what I'm saying? Good Reggie. Man, about 5-6 joints, and his joints be so fat that I could break them down, like go around my niggas, break them down. We roll a whole blunt and a half off one of his joints. So yeah, when I was at the house, I used to smoke by myself. I used to get so fucking high, bro. That shit was crazy. Yo, but let's start this clip off, man. Cause man, and I ain't got no problem with it. Goddamn it, I want y'all to come in the chat, talk to me. We gonna talk. You know what I'm saying? We a whole damn family, motherfucker. And I'm trying to get the views back up and everything. I've been fucking exhausted. You know what I'm saying? Because besides doing this, trying to make it to 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours, trying to monetize my page. So I'm going live every night, right? But I get up in the morning and I go into work at 11 a.m., right? So I get up around 9:30. Get ready for work. My wife, she fixed me lunch and shit. Take me to work, right? And she keep the car because we got 3 kids. Be able to get around. Boom. She come back home. I work from 11 to like 10:30. Like today I worked to 10:40 because she was a little late waking up. Her and the kids, they took a nap. And I clocked out like 10:40, right? So I'm working like anywhere from 10 to 12 hours a day, 5 days a week. Most of the time 6 days a week if it's on Saturday, if we work on a Saturday, because they don't make us work on Sunday. But if we work on a Saturday, we usually work like 4-5 hours to the max. Everybody make $20 a month starting off. So you start off at 20. Your overtime, your time and a half be $30. Because I do most of the time 11 to 12 hours a day. By the time I make it to Thursday, I got my full 40 hours because we get paid every week. So I instantly so 2 to 4 hours on Thursday is overtime, which is time and a half. For me, that's $30 an hour, right? And then Friday, I'm going to work 11 hours or 11:10, 11:30, or a little bit over 12 hours every Friday. And then when we work Saturday, I'm gonna stay 2 hours over. I'm gonna work them 4 hours with them, and when everybody leaving, I'm gonna get some more work and finish that workout before I leave. Like, so I be tired, but when I get off it, my wife come get me with the kids, and by the time we get back to the house, it be 30 or 45 minutes to pass. So we stop at the gas station, stores and stuff, get juice, get diapers for the baby if you need diapers, shit like that, necessities. And then by the time we get to the house, get in the house and get settled, it's past 11, 11:30. Then I do, like all day at work, I'm doing research, right? Plus I'm working. When I get home, I complete my research. I finish. So before I get on live, that's why sometimes I be getting on, lately I've been getting on around 4 or 5 in the morning and carrying it to 5 or 6 because I gotta have some time, right? And I'm trying to get my views back up. I've been so tired sometimes, I've just been passing out. Y'all give me a second, man. I'm gonna play this clip. I need to go check on my wife right quick. She calling me. Give me a second and let me play this clip that we was on.
Joining us now is Attorney Ben Crump, who's representing Nolan Wells' family. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Crump. Just from where you sit, what are the biggest unanswered questions so far about this case?
Obviously, the biggest question is what happened to Nolan Wells. I think the reason this case has caught such fire because they see the pictures, they see the video, and they're saying, hold on, you're trying to tell us just accept this an accident and sweep it under the rug? His mother, Christine, his father, Elmo, say no, they will not allow that to happen. His friends, his community. I mean, he was a good kid. He was beloved. He was a college athlete. He had everything going for him. And so to go on that island for 4th of July celebration and then not to come back is what is concerning everybody, especially when you hear the contradictions.
And you're conducting your own investigation. How will that differ from what the authorities are doing?
Well, it wanted to be very transparent because the family has some concerns about the state of Mississippi doing an investigation of the death of a young black man where young white students may be looked at as having some culpability. Is concerned about that. So we're going to have an independent autopsy. We have investigators talking to witnesses that have no alignment or no allegiance to the state. And that's important, Lindsay. When you think about Mississippi and the history of Mississippi, you know, this is the state where Emmett Till was lynched.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier there are some contradictions. Yes. What gives you confidence or perhaps concern about the investigation so far?
Well, the fact that they continue to tell the family that we don't see evidence of any foul play, even though you have students who recorded an altercation while they were on the boats of argument where you had Nolan and somebody yelling at one another on the boat. So that's the issue. And then you have the young lady make a statement, and she's Karmelo Anthony's.
I'm sorry, y'all. Here is the Karmelo Anthony joint. I'm moving so fast. When I started playing the audio clip off the tablet for Nolan was right above the one for Karmelo Anthony, and I made a mistake and pressed the one. What's up, incredibly incredible?
New team of high-powered lawyers are going score earth on the judge who oversaw the team's trial that ended with him being convicted of murdering fellow athlete Metcalf at a track meet.
He put his hands on me. I told him not to. He put his hands on me.
We have the hundreds of pages of documents claiming the judge overseeing the trial made errors. Now, Anthony's team is calling for the guilty verdict to be thrown out entirely. We will also talk about an alleged that.
Now I'm finna play that over because that's what I wanted y'all to hear. And see, this is what I was telling the trolls in the right. Every time we talked about Karmelo Anthony, every time I tried to explain how he was a kid also. Him and Austin was 17 at the time when he took Austin's life. But Austin was a bully. More things are coming out about Austin's brother, Hunter. He was even more of a bully. They mom took an interview on TikTok with one of the local TikTokers that do podcasts in their city and everything, right? He's a coach also at the school that both of her sons went to before Austin became deceased. And just like I said, his lawyer took that $400,000 retainer from the $700,000 that his parents raised in the GoFundMe. And I said he did not fight for Karmelo Anthony, right? And when all 6 of these lawyers at top law firms and presidents and founders of top associations, right, all teamed up and took his case pro bono, I kept on telling the trolls and the haters, they don't lose. They don't lose. The counsel, he's one of the top defense attorneys in Texas. And his record is pristine. He don't lose. It's like him times 6. And then I was tripping. We was tripping yesterday because I was basically like, this is basically gonna be 20 versus 1 on the prosecutor. I said they are gonna whoop the prosecutor's ass this go round. And have you ever been jumped by 6 people? And if you have, did you win? And that's basically how this case is finna go. In the affidavit, they filed a 200-page appeal for Karmelo. There was a deal under the table, right? There was a deal at the table that Karmelo Anthony's lawyer signed with the judge and the prosecutor to make sure that Karmelo Anthony received over 30 years for this charge him with. So it shows recklessness on Karmelo Anthony's defense lawyer's side of the story, because they was in cahoots with the judge and the prosecutor, district attorney's office, and signed a deal with the prosecutor and the state and didn't include Karmelo Anthony in signing this plea deal, right? They said that all of this shows that his own attorney wasn't even working with him. Everybody was working against him. Even the judge. The judge did some stupid ass, reluctant shit in the back, signing paperwork and allowing influence on the jury to be able to give Karmelo Anthony so much time, and he was nothing but a kid. And they knew it was self-defense. They knew behind the stand your ground law. So these 6 attorneys are now even trying to get the whole guilty verdict. They They not trying to retrial, like just retrial. They want the whole guilty verdict thrown out for the retrial. Throw that shit out. He shouldn't even never got 35 years, even if he was found guilty. So watch this. Guaranteed they finna find him not guilty this go round. Listen to this, y'all.
We have the hundreds of pages of documents claiming the judge overseeing the trial made some major errors. Now, Anthony's team is calling for the guilty verdict to be thrown out entirely. We will also talk about an alleged off-the-record deal that Anthony's defense team made with prosecutors that his new lawyers say set the now convicted teen killer up for failure. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart.
And this is a 200-page document of his appeal. We finna go over the whole thing. Law and Crime finna go over the whole thing with us and show us how reckless the defense team was in Karmelo Anthony's case. How reckless the judge and prosecution was. Oh yeah, this shit finna get wicked. I told y'all. Didn't I tell y'all you can go back? Every video I talked about Karmelo Anthony when the trolls came in. I said he was wrongfully convicted. When the pro bono lawyers came in, I said these 6 people don't lose. And then they teamed up, it's 6 of them. They didn't come to lose. I said they not making a statement right now or no press conference. I said because they most likely investigate every part, every edge, every corner of this case. I said right now they studying with the big whiteboard, the chalkboard in front of them. And these folks, look, somebody said he not gonna get no speedy trial. And speedy trials, even if he do, it's gonna take a long time. I said that's why Michael Ware, the white guy, our Caucasian brother, that's what he here for, right? Because when we need a speedy trial and we need this shit to ramp back up, he's the one that's gonna go shake them white judges' hands and on our behalf. Guess what? They don't give no fuck about Michael Ware helping black people and being an activist that have freed a lot of young black people in Texas for wrongful conviction, right? Because he's founder of the Wrongful Conviction Association in Texas, over the whole Texas, right? Yeah, he the one who gonna go to them, shake hands and say, yeah, we need this. You know me. I got a good team behind me. We will burn down every courthouse and put you on blast and have them talking about you through the internet and YouTube. If you don't get this done for me, I need it done now. Breaking news, Law and Crime, everybody airing this shit out. 200 fucking pages. You know they typing in 10 or 12 font, right? 2 of every fucking problem they found wrong with his trial. Let's listen.
Questions coming out of the trial of Karmelo Anthony was, why didn't he testify? It is rare for a defendant in a case like that, self-defense case, to not.
I told y'all he probably wanted to testify, but the plea deal that the damn that his defense lawyer signed with the deal prohibited him from testifying. His lawyer, his own defense attorney, was against him testifying because if he testified, he would have most likely been found not guilty. You heard him on the video. when he was explaining how the situation happened to the police about him in Austin. And he was telling them, I told him not to touch me. He put his hands on me. He put his hands on me. He was crying like a motherfucker. If he wouldn't have cried. Yeah, I told that nigga not to put his motherfucking hands on me. That's how he would have been. He was like, I told him not to do it. I told him not to put his hands on me. He put his hands on me first. I told him not to. I told him. He was crying like a motherfucker. He couldn't even explain him just stabbing someone out of self-defense to protect himself because he didn't want to be jumped. Right? He couldn't even explain the shit because when he's explaining it, he's recalling what just happened. When he stabbed bruh and see, he didn't take the knife with him. He didn't try to run out the stadium. He could have made it outside of there, motherfucker. That's how you know a person not a killer. If they hold out a knife and they say, don't come near me, come near them, and they jerk at you and stab you on accident because they just trying to jerk at you to scare you, thinking you're going to jump back, but you keep coming forward, they stab you by accident. When that knife go in you a little bit, no matter where they going to drop it and run off to get away from you. But they most likely gonna run off, get away from you, call the police, you know what I'm saying, report this shit, but they're gonna be emotional when they report it because they didn't want it to happen. Like they said, one of the officers said that Karmelo was in the truck constantly asking, is he gonna be okay? That's how you know he didn't even know he stabbed him hard. He knew he stabbed him somewhere in his chest. But he didn't know he stabbed him in his heart. In these stations and motherfucking racist ass white anchors and shit talking about I was listening to Nessie. What's her name? Nancy Drew? Whatever her name is, the old white woman. And I had to stop following her. I had to unsubscribe because she was talking about the Karmelo Anthony situation, and the white woman video call that she was interviewing. The white woman, the young white woman, she was remaining neutral. But every time Nancy was talking about Karmelo, she referred to him as the killer, or she referred to him as a murderer, or she referred to him as a what's the word? I'm not gonna be able to think of it. But she had all these names except for a kid, right? But when she was saying like this murderer stabbed this poor kid, when she was talking about Austin, she kept on calling him by his name or kid, but she never called Karmelo Anthony by his name, not once. But the young girl was saying it, and every time she speak on Karmelo Anthony, and it sounded like defense, because she was always like, you know, you never know if an altercation really took place and Austin and his brother is really who's social media making them out to be as far as bullies, then most likely Karmelo can have, it should have been self-defense, a self-defense plea for him. Man, she'll cut off. Yeah, he's a fugitive. Woman, he locked up, he can't be a fugitive. That's somebody that should be locked up, that's free. I had to stop following her. But let's listen to it a little bit more, y'all. Come on.
Take the stand in their own defense and tell their side of the story. Now, Karmelo Anthony's new lawyers some light on what allegedly happened behind closed doors during the trial. It is all part of the roughly 200 pages they filed, and they make some shocking claims as they get Anthony a new trial. Here are the dozens of pages filed in court in Texas by Anthony's new legal defense team. Last month, the Stand with Karmelo Coalition and 6 big-name Texas lawyers would be taking...
They called themselves the Stand with Karmelo Coalition. I told y'all they finna jump the shit out of the prosecutor. Yeah. He can't win this one. It's 6 of them. He can be the top prosecutor, right? Which still means he's one of the top lawyers. But one top lawyer going against 6 top lawyers, all 6 of their minds running together. They can come from 6 different angles. He ain't gonna be able to figure out all 6. So even though, just say he can figure out 4 of them, he can combat all 4 of those points from them. These last 2, he ain't gonna be able to combat. It's like every time they speak, he always, because the couple last 2 or 3, he can't combat it. He didn't have the thought for it. This shit is crazy, y'all. Let's listen.
A fresh look at the case and trial that ended in a guilty verdict. Now, I will say you can read through the word for word, page for page for yourself on our Law and Crime Plus app. Just go to the Karmelo Anthony case file. But let's walk through what these documents tell us, including what the new claiming the judge did after the trial that shows, they say, Karmelo didn't get a fair shake. Now, the judge's name is John Roach, and he did not allow cameras in the courtroom or audio recording for the trial. Testimony lasted 4 days, and this trial went at what many have considered a pretty brisk pace, which is part of Anthony's appeal. Now, I'm going to run through what happened in this case very briefly. This is the body cam video from one of the first officers who confronted Karmelo Anthony after Austin fatally stabbed. Anthony stabbed the fellow track star during a high school track meet in April of last year outside Dallas in Frisco, Texas.
Yep, that's what it was, Maya Nelson. Yeah, they dad wasn't there because they parents divorced because the dad was abusive to the mom. And then when Austin stepped in one day and broke his dad's collarbone, probably flipped his ass or something from putting his hands on. That's when they got a divorce. Right, but she took an interview talking about the cheerleaders, because the cheerleaders coming out talking about how they was bullies and how Hunter called one of the cheerleaders a fat bitch. And the mama took an interview on this TikTok, a podcast, the coach guy, and said, yeah, I heard about it. And that's most likely right because Hunter is the one that approaches things aggressive. So he most likely said it, but not one time did she apologize to them young women. Not one time did she ask for forgiveness on her son's behalf. Because he wasn't in the interview. It was just her and the grown folks from the neighborhood. I'm talking about the shit was crazy.
Now, here is the very blurry video of the incident. It was shot from a surveillance camera on the top of the football stadium. It shows some commotion, shows a potential shove from Austin Metcalf, but the moment in question, the stabbing of Austin Metcalf, is something you really cannot see. But this surveillance video was big evidence at the trial. Anthony was reportedly under Metcalf's team's tent. Metcalf wanted Anthony to leave. Anthony did not leave, and then Metcalf shoved Anthony, and in that moment, Anthony pulled a knife out of his backpack, stabbed Austin Metcalf once in the chest. The jury took roughly 3 hours after hearing testimony to reach a guilty verdict. In the days after the verdict, Karmelo Anthony filed a notice that he was appealing the verdict and these filings appear to be the first step in that process. Now, there were two documents that were filed. One is calling for a new trial. The other calls for the judge who oversaw the trial to be recused from any future proceedings on this case. So I want to start with why this team believes that Karmelo's guilty verdict should be tossed. Anthony's lawyers are arguing that his Sixth Amendment right to a public trial was violated. They say that this case received national attention, and yet the proceedings, they argue, were kept out of public view. Audio and video recordings were not allowed. We couldn't live stream it. We were only getting reports from a small number of credentialed media members inside the courtroom, and we were able to have one of those reporters, Cody Thomas from Court TV. But as far as the public, we did see lines at the door throughout this trial, but for the public, there were roughly only 24 seats in the courtroom. Dozens of people lining up outside. There was an overflow room. He's argued, they say that room was eliminated. Now, in the document, Anthony's team also has anecdotes from people who traveled from places like North Carolina and Arizona in hopes of witnessing this trial, but they say they weren't allowed in. Now, the decision not to allow cameras, live streaming, and audio recording, that was made by the judge. And this is what that judge said in an interview with WFAA television after the verdict.
So I'm doing this interview with you to make sure that people understand how the system works. And if they really wanted
the hours of deliberations. Now, here is where Anthony's new team says the off-the-record deal restricted him from being able to testify because they claim that the plan was
off-the-record deal that his defense attorney did with the prosecutor and the judge. This is what prohibited Karmelo Anthony from being able to testify in his own trial. Karmelo Anthony wasn't even let known or made known or made aware that this deal was even going on. That's what the deal was.
It's for Karmelo Anthony to that he had with Austin Metcalf, and under this deal that they say exists, that he wouldn't have to worry about his character being attacked on the stand. But then they allege on June 8th, which is the second to last day of this trial, the day before Anthony would have taken the stand, the team alleges that prosecutors went back on the deal. They say that the deal never contemplated a testifying defendant, and they also claim that the defense opened the door to character testimony.
Okay, so what he's saying is the Karmelo defense deal that prohibited Karmelo Anthony, like he signed some papers that prohibited Karmelo Anthony from testifying. So he partially doing this job because he thinking that he's getting Karmelo basically a future plea deal, a smaller amount of time than what Karmelo received, right? This is how you know he didn't do his work and he didn't work his job like he was supposed to for Karmelo. Law and Crime just said that this man still, after signing them papers, thinking he getting the deal. He didn't read all the way through the shit. After signing them papers, he got ready to still call Karmelo Anthony up to testify on the stand. Prosecution objected. Judge struck the shit because the defense had signed papers that prohibited Karmelo Anthony from testifying. So even though he didn't testify, because he was fit to testify and they saw his name on the docket to testify, they took the deal back. If he didn't testify, I'm gonna give his ass 15, 20 years, most likely 20 years. You know what I'm saying? But he probably wouldn't have had to do nothing but like 50, 65% some shit. So his defense fucked him over.
Because in the opening statements for the defense, they mentioned that Carmelo Anthony liked to play chess, which had nothing to do with what happened under the tent. They say, quote, when the moment came for the defendant to make the most consequential decision of the trial, whether to waive his Fifth Amendment privilege to testify, the court allotted the defense 10 minutes. Counsel, a 19-year-old, threw it, denied counsel's request for additional time. The Anthony appeal team also talks about the speed at which this trial moved, which also mentioned that the jury was told that they would be sequestered to a...
I told y'all the trial went too fast. The trial went too fast. I said I ain't never seen a trial that short. 3 days, less than 24 hours. Three days, fucking 3 hours. It only took the jury 3 hours to deliberate and find this man guilty. And then the jury gave him sentenced him to 35 years. Not the judge, but the jury. This shit I don't know about that. I know he was a poster child for his team, for his football team. The football captain also. Team captain. Now they still got, they still gave, because he was going for the not guilty thing, right? And behind his back, even after he went to trial, they still was gonna give him another deal, right? He wouldn't have had to serve 35 years, most likely some shit like 20 years. But he would have only had to serve half of that before he was up for parole or some shit like that. He could, the deal that his defense signed for him to get that, for him to get sentenced, was that he couldn't testify, right? But it wasn't testify, it was deeper shit, which tells us that his defense didn't even read all the documents that they were signing. Because they put him on the docket still to testify, right, in his own trial. His defense did. And when it came time, prosecution object, the judge struck it, told them both to approach the podium, and you know, they most likely chopped it down and said, hey, he signed this paperwork saying that Karmelo wouldn't testify. So we not going, he shouldn't be allowed to testify. Plus, we want to take the deal back. Because basically his defense violated the contract that he signed with the prosecuting state. The shit crazy. So his defense was just fucking up. He would probably think about that new vacation he was finna get ready to take to Brazil or some shit on that 400,000. Yeah, he was gonna fuel up a private jet. Brazil, Australia, some shit like that, in one of his lofts or condo. And just think how he made 400,000 off a young black boy, and he got him 35 years. Boy, they ought to take their GoFundMe money back from that 700,000. You got 400,000, nigga, and you got this nigga 35 years. Yeah, you need to get that back. Just acting reckless in Carmelo Anthony's trial. 200 pages of nothing but mistakes by defense, prosecution, and the judge. Boy, I told y'all these lawyers wasn't playing.
Hotel, if
they want this shit, whole guilty charge thrown out. Not just, you know what I'm saying, the motherfucking judge to receive disciplinary action and prosecution to be disbarred, but and you know, the switch of venue, switch them to another court system and shit. But they want the whole guilty plea to be thrown out. And watch this. I bet they get the new plea, not guilty.
They didn't reach a verdict that day.
We just gonna bet. And y'all keep up with me on my lives. And when it come time for the new trial, and he get the not guilty, y'all hit that subscribe button and go get your folks and tell them come subscribe, because this nigga is very analytical. He can analyze the fuck out of some shit, and he teaching us. Come on over here to Blocstarr Imis Analytics.
Not only is the new team of lawyers for Karmelo Anthony arguing that his guilty verdict should be tossed, they should be recused from future hearings. Now, a big part of that...
Recused. I told y'all, that's why he took the case. He finna retire in 6 months. What he's hoping is that, what he was hoping was that it was gonna take them at least 6 months to be able to file an appeal. But see, our Caucasian brother Michael Ware went and shook some hands of some other judges, Supreme Court, the Supreme Court jury. Yeah, he went and shook some hands, you know what I'm saying, in the DA's office. And said, look, we need to file this appeal right now. We got 200 pages. Yeah, we need the guilty, because we going the guilty charge to be thrown all the way out for him to receive a retrial. And we going for the not guilty. Self-defense. In action of the stand your ground law anywhere in Texas. See, they know, even though we calling it a knife, it's not a knife. It's really called a tool. It has a blade on it, and it looks like a pocket knife, but it's a tool because it has more than a blade on it. It has the bottle opener. It has the key. It has a couple of small filers on the back end, probably 2 or 3 from the look that he had. The hook that was at the top where it was bent back like a hey, that hook is a bottle opener. For those of you who drink shit like Modelo, shit like Corona, you know what I'm saying? You probably got one of them junkies. Yeah, but see, they know all of this, and I told y'all, they just wait for the right moment. Right now, they investigate. And when they come, because it's 6 of them, they gonna do this shit so fast. When they come, a nigga ain't gonna be able to prepare for what they got. Ain't gonna be able to. They the best attorneys in their law firms or in the law firms that they work for. The black woman, she worked for Ben Crump, right? It's like the vice president or she's like some high position, you know what I'm saying, up under Ben Crump at his law firm, right? So she's like the female Ben Crump. She thinks the fastest in the law firm when it comes to analyzing situations, breaking shit. She types the fastest. I mean, all of these attorneys, they the best at what they did at their law firm or the law firm that they work for. And if they work for somebody else's law firm, it's the top law firm. Or it's one of the top law firms. Yeah, see, this shit, I love this shit. Y'all come on in, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I love this shit, man. Because I got proof. You can go back in the lives. I got proof. You will see when we was talking about Karmelo, everything I'm saying now, that these folks saying, I analyzed that shit before they was even saying it. I analyzed they moves before they even made them. You'll see one of the chats, one of the lives, I was talking to one of the chat haters, right? He was hating on Karmelo Anthony, constantly calling him a watermelon felon and all of that shit, like on some real racist white shit. I know white shit, but racist white shit, right? And I pretty much got on his ass real fast. Yeah, you a troll. I shout him out. Shout out such and such. Yeah, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel, because we need them haters. But he said something about Karmelo, and I said, no. No. I said, it's going to help this man. What you know? 6 lawyers. 6 of the top lawyers in defense, civil rights, wrongful convictions. Yeah, Michael Ware is the founder of the Wrongful Conviction Association of Texas. Not of Houston, not of Dallas, not of Austin, not of Fort Worth, not of Beaumont, not of Waterstone, but of Texas. Run the court systems in Texas when it comes to shutting down these politicians, because judges and lawyers, they politicians too. When it comes to shutting down these politicians, because they got to meet how many folks they trying to lock up to get them cutbacks, because they help fill up the prisons and shit. Yeah, he the white guy that's sitting up in this office, and when he got free time, he looking up past convictions over the last month or 2 months, right? And his keywords is wrongful conviction and shit like that. And out of 20, 30 convictions, it might be 2 or 3 motherfuckers that had a case where people was testifying and said that they don't think that person could have did it, and nah, that person don't even hang around them people or some shit like that, right? And them folks still got found guilty and gave life. Yeah, he coming. Yeah, Michael, he coming. Wrongful conviction, he drumming. Let's listen to some more of this shit, y'all.
Argument has to do with this interview that Judge Roach gave to WFAA
I
after
told
the verdict.
y'all he fucked
the jury
up
get it
in
right?
that interview.
Yeah, they did. You know why? Because they picked based upon the law. They listened to the facts that happened here in this very courtroom, and they got a verdict. And so
Another thing I said, what's up, William? What's up, Greg? Hell yeah, they high in the state, la. Rank up there. I'm talking about stupid rank. When they want to make some shit move, they make some shit move with each other. Y'all friends, the mayor, the prosecutor of the district attorney's office, the judge, y'all work in cahoots to make sure that damn near every black guy that come through this courtroom, y'all give them a hefty sentence, so y'all can get the kickbacks from the penitentiaries and the penitentiaries, because they hold 3,000 to 6,000 inmates, right? And you keep them full. Every time 2 or 3 motherfuckers, 50 motherfuckers go free, you fill right back up within the next week. Hefty sentences. Yeah, they gonna give you kickbacks like a motherfucker. Because for those of you who don't know, prisons, jails, when the law lock you up and you have to serve time, the government, the jails, CAA, the corporate to prisons. The first prison ever was here in Tennessee. Right? I'm in Memphis, Tennessee. The first prison ever in the U.S. was here in Tennessee. This is where CAA, the Corrections Association, this is where the corporate is, here in Tennessee. Right? Our government, Congress in them, right, pay prisons $200. It's probably a little bit higher now, $250 to house each inmate every single night. So for each inmate, our government is paying these prisons 250 times 30, because it's 30 days in a month. You know what I'm saying? 250 times 30 times 3,000 or 4,000 or 6,000, however many inmates they got. So it's a $1 billion corporation when it comes to these prisons and correction facilities. I had told me Michael Jordan invests in prisons. I said, you got the wrong Michael Jordan. I'm talking about, I said, you must have heard that from somebody. The actual black Michael Jordan, NBA star, he does not invest in prisons, but there is an entrepreneur, billionaire, or he might be a multimillionaire, hundreds of millions, white guy named Michael Jordan, and he's known, his wealth that he accumulated is known from him investing in prisons US wide. But it got confused in the media. All it took was one young black nigga to see that shit and say, oh, fuck, it's Michael Jordan. I'm finna go tell everybody. Read the story.
That's the process. And whatever they say, they get it right.
The appeals team says that Roach is biased to his court's ruling by making that statement, and he should not be allowed to oversee any sort of proceedings related to the Karmelo Anthony case going forward. They mentioned 5 specific quotes from that interview in the filing that they have brought forward. Carmelo's team also points to this letter that the judge posted on the...
Y'all, they said that the judge was biased. From them watching his interview, they said Karmelo Anthony's, these 6 lawyers, pro bono, they said from them watching his interview, they found out that the judge is biased. And they had 6 different points from the video, 6 different statements that the judge made that showed that he is biased. In the interview, they deciphered the interview. And every biased line that they heard him say, they checked their facts. Do you think this is biased? Do you think what he said is biased? Do you think what he said is biased? Explain how. Explain how. Explain how. 6 different ways. Yeah, this is in the 200-page appeal. These pro bono, man, lawyers ain't playing, because they ain't nobody regular. They ain't just no regular lawyers. These folks is the shit in they town. These folks is recognized in they town. The counsel works for his family's law firm. So it's probably his dad or his granddad that started the law firm, right? But it's family. I think the Latino guy works for a top law firm that's involved with civil rights, right? Michael Ware, he has his own law firm. I think it's called Ware and Attorneys or some shit like that, right? And he's the founder of Texas Wrongful Conviction Association. Ben Carson, I believe his name is. He has his own law firm. And he's also the president of the NAACP, the older black guy. And then you have the younger black guy that's also a co-counsel with the young black woman. He works for his family law firm. We know the young black woman, she works for Ben Crump's law firm. And they all from different parts of Texas, Austin, Dallas, Houston, you know what I'm saying? And that's where they law firms at. But they the top. All of these lawyers are also civil rights activists, including Michael Ware, our Caucasian brother. Y'all, this shit getting juicy, man.
Collin County, Texas website where he writes, quote, regardless of title or assignment, each of you contributed to ensuring that the process was conducted fairly, safely, and with the dignity our citizens deserve, end quote. Anthony's team is arguing that anyone who read that letter or maybe watched that interview that the judge gave could reasonably question whether Judge Roach can fairly review a verdict he has already defended as just. Joining us now from Texas to talk more about this case.
Because he defended the community and he defended the family in the interview, and he was like, this, like, justice, everybody, you know, like, this was, the trial was done right. We didn't let no outsiders in. Justice was served for the community, like, constantly talking about what he did for the community and justice being served. You know what I'm saying, showed that he was biased because he didn't say not one good thing about Karmelo. He never really spoke about Karmelo, except for the jury giving him that 35-year sentence and he believed justice was served. That was biased. He believed justice was served. As a judge, you can't give your opinion on your cases like that, man. You might be an attorney like you and you graduated from law school, but your title is judge. So you can't be like the attorneys. You shouldn't take interviews. I said this nigga would take an interview with a news station and put himself across social media, their news station social medias and YouTubes and shit, inside of the courtroom, recording him boasting and bragging about the case and getting ready to ride. But we couldn't come in during Karmelo Anthony's case. I said, man, there's something wrong with that. When you hear it, even if you don't know what's wrong about it, it sounds wrong. It feels wrong when you hear it. Why didn't he allow anybody outside of the city in the court? Talking about he had to reserve seats and make sure that people of the little town or city, whatever he called it, was able to come and see justice served. When he was saying shit like that, that showed that he was biased towards the young black kid, Karmelo Anthony. Free Karmelo.
Trial attorney have you here, online crime.
No.
Reading through roughly 200 pages.
No, Debo.
The part that stood out to me was this off the record deal. Allegedly, the prosecution and the defense made that the defense and prosecution wouldn't bring in the character part of the trial, that they'll keep what happened in the tent. First off, just how common is it to have those type of deals in cases like this?
It's pretty common to happen in criminal cases like this, or even in misdemeanor cases in trials, where defense counsels and prosecutions will have agreements that they say, well, I won't talk about this as long as you don't talk about that. However, the enforceability is what we're talking about here. And is that something that they can rely on, that says that it forced him not to testify for a motion for a new trial? A lot of times, like what Judge Roach said here in his response to that, well, is it enforceable? Was it something that was presented before the court? Did the court agree on that? Was it something that was written down that was presented to the court? In this situation, it wasn't. Even in the motion for states, well, it was unrecorded. It was an unrecorded evidentiary agreement and issue.
Yeah, and I know they said that this was a deal that was
They are
negotiated through
spicy.
like phone calls, and I don't know what type of record there may be with that. What did you make of, especially when it came, and that's been a big question, I think, since this trial concluded, was why did Carmelo Anthony not
already know
testify?
it,
And the idea that they paint the picture in this document that there was 10 minutes to make this decision, and that was all the time they had. They couldn't get more time. And then apparently the day prior, the prosecution says, hey, we may have had this deal for all the witnesses, but this unwritten, off-the-record deal did not include the defendant. What did you make of that part? And I think in the scheme of this being an appeal going forward, how could that factor into the efforts that this team for Carmelo Anthony has going forward?
Yeah, I think that.
What are you saying, Union Nash? You want me to pause so you can explain? Make sure you subscribe to the channel. What's up, Robert, the great one? Who playing on your phone, man?
They had to make a decision based off of the information that they were presented during
Just
trial.
already got me
Sometimes things come up for the defense counsel as you are learning about them as the trial continues on, and you have to make a decision on the spot based off of the information that's presented to you at the time. At this time, the information that the prosecution had presented to them shown in court, the defense counsel stated that they believe that it wasn't the right Carmelo Anthony to testify. Whenever a defendant does testify, it does typically open the door for the prosecution to ask them questions about their history, ask them questions about a number of things. And so it is a decision that the defense counsel has to make. They may have tried to prep him prior to that. They may have decided that, okay, well, maybe he was going to testify, and then decided during the trial that that wasn't a good idea anymore during that 10-minute time period. So I think there's so much that can be determined during the trial, and the defense counsel has to make that decision on the spot. It's a hard job to do.
It is. And I mean, being a defense attorney is an incredibly difficult job, especially, I'm sure,
Hey, Jay.
A high-profile case like this one. I think you could look at with just how the case played out, that this deal may not have been the best decision to go forward with. I think that there could be a lot of criticism of that if all that's being alleged here is true. It's the bar. If this was a bad decision that this defense attorney made to go into a deal, and we're not going to include like what the opposing as far as experts being brought in. Apparently Carmelo Anthony has epilepsy. Could that have been something that would have had an impact on his decision making at 19, 18 years old?
Robert,
he doesn't have a brain that's been fully developed. That's not an argument that was made, they say, because of this. Does that reach the bar, though, in the appeals process for an ineffective assistance of counsel claim?
Well, the ineffective assistance of counsel claim by an attorney, it's a high threshold for someone to reach. And what it's deemed to be is that if the attorney
listening to Law and Crime, they just did the 200-page that the 6 pro bono lawyers just filed for Carmelo Anthony retrial, and they asked for the whole guilty plea to be thrown out. They said, the judge said at least 5 things that show he was biased in the interview that he took after they found Carmelo Anthony guilty and gave him 35 years. They also say Carmelo was wrongfully convicted. They also say that Carmelo's defense attorney did a deal behind his back with prosecution and the judge that prohibited Carmelo Anthony from testifying during this trial, right? We found out and analyzed that his defense attorney was not doing his fucking job for that $400,000 from the GoFundMe that made $700,000 for Carmelo Anthony trial. You know, his defense attorney, the white guy, retained $400,000 to take his case because it was a big case. Right? But then he cut a deal with the DA's office, the prosecutor, and the judge. It prohibits Karmelo Anthony from testifying. He obviously didn't read the whole document and contract deal that he signed, because he put Karmelo Anthony, for the second day of his trial, he put Karmelo Anthony on the docket to testify, which made the prosecution object, and the judge strike, and then the prosecution asked the judge to take the deal away. Like they want to take the deal away from him, because he wasn't supposed to testify. Though he's still not testifying, he was on the docket to testify, which means they broke contract. So that's what we listening to, Leah J. We listening to Law and Crime. This just aired today, well, early yesterday, like yesterday evening, about the 200-page appeal that the 6 lawyers that just started working for Karmelo Anthony about 2 or 3 weeks ago pro bono. And I told my chat analysts, because we all analysts here, we all Blocstarr analysts, I told him, started covering this story, and he received 35 years. I said he was wrongfully convicted. And the haters was in here. They was like watermelon felling all the way through there. He deserved life. He deserved what he got and all of this shit. He killed that kid. He's a criminal. No, I said he's a kid. A kid killed a kid. Y'all like the video, subscribe to the channel.
If they had done these things, then the outcome would have been different. They have to show that the outcome would have been different if the attorney had done those things. And so is it a concern? Is it something that could be raised? Possibly. Do we know that it would make it to the point of, like, we know that the outcome would have been different if things had been presented? We don't know.
And that's where we at right. They say we don't know, but we know. If that would have been presented, the outcome would have definitely been different. If Karmelo could have got on that stand and explained himself, I know it would have been different. Because I haven't heard him explain the story yet, even through fucking body cams and camera footage that's all over the internet. Every time he explained the story, every time I heard of him explain the story, he was emotional and crying. Just like that. But with no further ado, we finna get into, we're gonna come back tomorrow and do the season finale for this story on all 3 of these young black people who either lost their life or lost their life to the system. Karmelo Anthony, Nolan Wells, and baby girl Princess Javeayah. I don't want to call her Harris, because those people were evil as hell. They were supposed to be her protectors, and they were the ones to kill her. So we got the recording from that, and the police basically saying that they found an amount of her remains on the river banks where they were searching in the woods. They found they just found some of her remains. Her body was in pieces. Her parents put her in something, probably a tub or I don't know, but they poured chemicals over her body, most likely acid, to destroy her body, to destroy evidence of the abuse, right? And then her body had been out there for a month, so they found pieces of her body. And they said that They poured these chemicals on her to kill evidence and basically hide the abuse with her body, but they went through extreme measures to make sure that her body never got found, right? And they fucking confessed that they took her body to the river and poured it in the river. They didn't say they threw her fucking body in the river. They said they poured her body in the river. So whatever, they broke her body down, sit up, something like that, to where her body fucking, you know, it was pieces of bones and skin fragments and stuff like that, and they ran the DNA and found out, yes, this is the baby's remains. But they used so much of whatever chemical, most likely acid, her body to basically destroy any evidence that she existed, that her body and her flesh and shit liquefied. And they poured her, not threw her into the river. These folks poured her into the river. They deserve the fucking chair. I don't know how many times I gotta say it. Y'all like the video, subscribe to the channel.
I want to also share with you that through forensic evidence, statements, and analysis, extensive and deliberate efforts were made to destroy and conceal evidence following.
This the sheriff, the chief of the sheriff's department. He's throwing another press conference, and he's saying extensive measures were taken. He's talking those two demons. Because like I said before, they deserve to be called her parents or her mom and dad. But they went through extensive measures, extreme measures, to get rid of her body and destroy her body.
Javeayah
to cope with an unimaginable loss and says that the family is still searching for answers and leaning on the community for support.
A sad situation. You know definitely the grandma, she's a sweet person. Always, love on people, wave at you when she sees you.
All right, what's up with it, y'all? So look, I'm back again with another video right now. Look, this is an update on Javeayah Harris, the acid, or whatever. They don't want to compromise the investigation still, which is understandable. But like before, public, right? But some people were saying, they said, oh y'all, I just didn't want to bring out this. Didn't want to get into the press conference to see what they had to say. I have a video of a conference.
Okay, here it is, y'all. Press conference.
Good morning. I'm Marty Sawyer, and I'm the sheriff in Aiken County.
Bad news.
Thank you for being here today, especially the citizens of Aiken.
This press conference is about 4-year-old Javeayah Harris's body, and the state that it was in when her parents killed her, because they didn't seek medical help when she got a head injury. They let her die, then they poured chemicals over her body. It liquefied her body, and then the place that they confessed and told the police that they took her, the sheriffs, that they took her body in the Great Lakes where they were searching in the wooded area and against the banks. They found pieces of her body and bones and fragments of her skin. But the parents confessed that they poured her body into the river. A 4-year-old, they deserve lethal injection.
Let's come in. Thank you for being here. And I'm here to provide an update on the investigation that we've been investigating a 4-year-old Javeayah Harris. These updates never get easier to share. This past week has been heart-wrenching for everyone, but we've seen an outpouring of support in Aiken County and a massive joint law enforcement effort.
Amen to that, Yop Sticks.
To search for,
shout out to Yop Sticks,
and now to seek justice for Javeayah Harris.
Nolan.
Personally, there's some very harsh words that I would like about Javeayah and Michelle and their actions. But I will not do that. And I will.
He want to talk about them so bad. Let them know how disgusting they are, what type of peasants they are. But he's the chief of the sheriff's department, so he can't do that. He said, I want to share it with them, but I will not do that. And then he continues.
Not do that to protect and maintain the integrity of this case. But I will tell you this. I will not refer to them as mom and dad or mother or father.
That's what I said.
They don't deserve that title. I stand before you saying this is one of the most difficult, deeply disturbing, and emotionally taxing investigations this office has ever worked, and it weighed heavily on the sheriff's office, all these other law enforcement agents, all these people behind me to bring this to an end, and it's weighed heavily on our community. I am truly sickened to share in an area known as Cedar Creek Reservoir, also known as Stumpy Pond in Fairfield County. These remains were immediately sent to the State Law Enforcement Division, and through analysis, the DNA of the remains are consistent with being the biological offspring of Javeayah and Michelle.
Yep, it's back.
I want to also share with you that through forensic evidence, statements, and analysis, extensive and deliberate efforts were made to destroy and conceal evidence following Javeayah's death. Our information reveals use of corrosive chemicals and other tools that were used to accelerate the destruction of her little.
He just
After
damn
this
near
was
cried.
completed, these two individuals poured what were left of Javeayah into the Cedar Creek Reservoir. These subjects went through great lengths to cover their repulsive and revolting actions.
They
In my
poured.
37-year career in law enforcement, I have never, ever heard of anything so horrific.
Y'all, these folks. Javeayah Harris' parents is horrible. Yeah, they'll never get to see that other child. And like I said, we hoping that they receive the death penalty. Right. The death penalty. It just hurt. This whole situation just hurt. So what's up, Camilla? How you doing? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, Camilla. It's just heart-wrenching. But we gonna finish that clip off for sure on part 5, season finale. That's basically coming up tonight. Now we finna move on to my brother Nolan Xavier Wells. Justice for Nolan. And we got some crazy sound clips. I'm finna play them, and as we go through them, we gonna break it down. What's up, Goofy? Goofy Poofy.
Ow! Y'all not gonna believe what I just stumbled upon. Did y'all know about this right here? There's a family.
This guy crazy. But the clip he finna play, it's the family I was telling y'all about. They came across Nolan and the white boys when they was arguing. And one of the white boys tried to take up for him. They had him in the water. And I believe somebody said he can't swim. And the white boy that was pissed at him, that was arguing with him, said something like, he's black, he should be able to swim, or some shit like that, or he's a grown man. And they filmed Nolan. He was standing in the water close to the shore, but half of his body was submerged underwater, like his waist and everything. He had a blue life jacket on, and I believe he was yelling out, "I can find my way back," or something like that. I don't know, but we finna hear it together. Let's listen.
Family canoeing down the river. Y'all not gonna believe what they spotted. Watch what they find, because they stumbled upon some boys. One black and the rest of them is white. Watch this. The white boy said he's a grown-ass man. He should be able to know how to swim. You know a lot of our people can't swim. He's letting them know, look, bro, I can't swim. I got your mom always worried about you. I think that's why. That's the reason we know we can tell by looking at you.
Oh, I'm black. It doesn't matter. I'm not gonna say.
That's what we get to die.
Bro, I'll just find a way.
Y'all hear that?
Yep. The one that was making fun of him. Yeah, you're black. By the way, you're black. He said, I'll find my own way. He said, yeah. They left him in the water. They left him in the water, but did they circle back around? Let's see. And they got his phone while they teasing him. It was a family that was canoeing. A mother, a dad, younger daughter, and a middle-aged daughter. And they filmed it from their cellular device. The daughter that had her phone, I think she was going live or something. She filmed it. She didn't get a picture of the white boys, but she got a picture of Nolan in the water, who they was making fun of, while they was leaving them in the water. This shit crazy.
Everybody needs to be investigated. Plan with this. Continues to happen. No. And so come to find out, so this shortly before to agents search. Parents got to be smarter than that. There, white family canoeing down a river, and look at what y'all listen to the background because they stumbled upon some boys.
There it is.
One black and the rest of them is white. Watch this. The white boy said he's a grown-ass man. He should be able to know how to swim.
One of them said, look, you're going to die.
You should be able to know how to swim. You know a lot of our people can't swim. He's letting them know.
That's crazy.
We're continuing to follow the investigation.
Okay, so his parents have retained Ben Crump as the lawyer to investigate their son's case because they're from Mississippi and they don't trust the white people in Mississippi to investigate their son's case being a black young man and investigate it fairly. So Ben Crump has got it, right? He has transported Nolan's body to Washington, D.C. to receive an outside autopsy. And the mother, the father, and Ben Crump, they've all traveled to New York. They're going to have a press conference later on today. And we're going to get it. And later on tonight, we're going to go live again and we're going to analyze their press conference to see what's next before it comes. But this is him on the news channel making it public how the family feel and what him and Reverend Al Sharpton is going to do and what they're here to do for the family while they travel to New York for this press conference in the morning with Reverend Al Sharpton. Yeah, Reverend Al Sharpton that got on this. You know, he's a big civil rights activist. He actually marched with Martin Luther King, right? He actually traveled with Martin Luther King. He actually met Malcolm X. Like, this is one of those old guys that's been around for a long time in black civil rights. Y'all like the video, subscribe to the channel. Here it is.
Investigation to the death of 18-year-old Nolan Wells on Horn Island on July 4th. And what's to come next? Tomorrow, there will be a press conference in New York with the family, attorney Ben Crump and Reverend Al Sharpton. And it'll be starting at 11 our time and plans to call for a full and transparent investigation. An autopsy was performed by the state medical examiner, but now civil rights attorney Ben Crump says that Wells' body is being flown to Washington, D.C. for an independent autopsy. Meanwhile, speculation on social media continues after Wells disappeared during the 4th of July outing with friends on Horn Island. Crump says that his team is conducting its own investigation, citing what he calls Mississippi's past.
One thing, we're trying to be very transparent because the family has some concerns about the state of Mississippi doing an investigation of the death of a young black man where young white students may be looked at as having some culpability. So the family is concerned about that. So we're going to have an independent autopsy. We have investigators talking to witnesses that have no alignment or no allegiance to the state. And that's important, Lizzie. When you think about Mississippi and the history of Mississippi, you know, this is the state where Emmett Till was lynched.
Crump says that he doesn't know if something sinister happened to Nolan, but he and the family intend to find out. This morning, we're continuing to follow the investigation to the death of 18-year-old Nolan Wells on Horn Island on July 4th. And what's to come next? Tomorrow, there will be a press conference in New York with the family, attorney Ben Crump and Reverend Al Sharpton. And it'll be starting at 11 our time and plans to call for a full and transparent investigation. An autopsy was performed by the state medical examiner, but now civil rights attorney Ben Crump says that Wells' body is being flown to Washington, D.C. for an independent autopsy. Meanwhile, speculation on social media continues after Wells disappeared during the 4th of July outing with friends on Horn Island. Crump says that his team is conducting its own investigation, citing what he calls Mississippi's past.
One thing, we're trying to be very transparent because the family has some concerns about the state of Mississippi doing an investigation of the death of a young black man where young white students may be looked at as having some culpability. So the family is concerned about that. So we're going to have an independent autopsy. We have investigators talking to witnesses that have no alignment or no allegiance to the state. And that's important, Lindsay. When you think about Mississippi and the history of Mississippi, you know, this is the state where Emmett Till was lynched.
Crump says that he doesn't know if something sinister happened to Nolan.
That's crazy, man. So that's what he used as his PowerPoint, the Emmett Till situation. Young black boy was 13 years old back in the day. A white woman lied to her husband and said that the 13-year-old black boy whistled at her. Right? They beat him till his face swelled up like a pumpkin. Then they lynched him, hung him from a tree. Cut his petey whack off, hung him from a tree, pulled his pants down, right? 20 years later, that woman comes out and say he never even whistled at her. She served no time for that. So that's what he getting at. So now that the Mississippi coroner has finished his autopsy, they flying the body to Washington, D.C. to one of the best coroners for him to do a private autopsy. And then they're having a press conference in the morning with Reverend Al Sharpton and the mother and father out there in New York. So we gonna for sure tune in for that. But yeah, I heard that sound clip and I was just like, what the fuck? These folks did exactly what I thought they did. Yeah, they did get to arguing with Nolan. And they obviously took his phone and put him off the boat. But see, that's not the full clip. We got to know if they circle back around. That's what we got to find out. That's what Ben Crump at Ben Crump Law, LLC, is finna find out for this family. Man, listen, man. You already know it. Shout out to Pittsburgh Midget. He said Al Sharpton. Well, I knew it wouldn't be long. Yeah, Al Sharpton got to get in there. Anything that's like civil rights, for sure, the top stories, he gonna get in there. Cause like I said, he from back then where Martin Luther King them days, he marched with Martin Luther King. He knew Malcolm X, shook hands with these guys, right? When Bumpy Johnson tried to become a politician and shit, you know what I'm saying? Bro was around to shake hands with these niggas. It might have been Frank Lucas, I'm not sure. But he know these older guys from the streets and from politics out there in New York. Al Sharpton, the man. And he a part of our government, Congress. You know what I'm saying? Out there in Washington, D.C. So you see him at all the little congressional functions. But hell yeah, man. Look, I love y'all, chat. I thank y'all, chat. You know what this is? This is Blocstarr Imis Analytics. What are we? We are Blocstarr Analysts. What did we just do? We just analyzed the fuck out of that shit. Right? Don't forget to like the video, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel to become a part of the family. Listen, man. You've been chilling with yours truly. It's Blocstarr Imis, all the way from Memphis. Look, my chat analysts, don't y'all forget me. I love y'all. Peace. Bye la la.